And welcome back to Hannity's America. This year, the late, great actor John Wayne would have been 100 years old. Now, the Duke has been gone for 28 years, but his contribution to patriotism and the spirit of this country, it will never be forgotten. This year, we celebrate the 100th birthday of an American icon, John Wayne. As an Academy Award-winning actor, John Wayne portrayed characters who were the epitome of American values and heroism.
Well, good luck, Pilgrim.
The Duke starred in dozens of westerns, including The Searchers, El Dorado, and True Grit, for which he was awarded the Oscar for Best Actor. He also starred in patriotic films like The Longest Day, The Green Berets, and In Harm's Way. The Duke is remembered not only for his distinctive voice and walk,
let's make some music,
but also for being one of the few staunch conservatives in Hollywood. Because of his strong political views and megastar power, the Texas Republican Party asked John Wayne to run for national office in 1968. That same year, he was also asked to be the running mate for Alabama Governor George Wallace. He turned down both offers, but did address the Republican National Convention and campaign for Richard Nixon's presidential bid in 1968. Wayne also supported his friend and fellow actor Ronald Reagan in his bids for governor of California in 1966 and 1970. Both Wayne and Reagan were members of the Motion Picture Alliance for the Preservation of American Ideals. In the end, the Duke may have demonstrated his patriotism and political views most effectively through the roles that he chose to play.
I won't be wronged, I won't be insulted, I won't be laid a hand on. I don't do these things to other people, and I require the same from them.
After his death in 1979, the Duke was awarded a Congressional Gold Medal with the simple inscription, John Wayne, American. Today, 28 years after his death, John Wayne continues to be a symbol of patriotism and the American spirit. I spoke recently to his daughter-in-law, Gretchen Wayne. You know what I love about it? He represents the rugged individual and a guy in Hollywood that actually had conservative values. That's a rarity today.
It absolutely is. I don't know if there's anybody quite like him anymore.
You know, one of the things I read, he really was, you know, especially on issues of patriotism and his country and love of country, he felt that he could best get his message out through movies, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that was his way to get to people. And he didn't like to preach to them. He always said, if you want to send a message, call Western Union. But you get the idea through the stories that he told in the roles that he portrayed. And that's how he liked to do it.
You know, I know he was a big fan of Reagan's. Why did he not follow in Reagan's footsteps? We hear about all these Hollywood guys want to run for office. Did he ever think about that?
Well, you know, it's kind of a family joke because they'd say, oh, you know, they'd like you to run for office. And I can remember my husband saying this. And his dad's answer was always, you know, I've got 7 kids. I can't take the cut and pay. So, you know, when you... he had a lifestyle, and he liked to, and he had expenses, and he just couldn't do that. And he felt he could be more effective in supporting people or speaking out on issues that he felt were important.
You know, one of the things that always impresses me, and I always want to know about people that have these great American patriotic values, like John Wayne, where did those values and that strong love of country come from in his particular case?
You know, I think it has a lot to do with the time that he was born in the, you know, it rises out of the dust of Iowa, Winterset, Iowa. There are certain strengths and certain common sense characteristics that come from the Midwest. And when the family moved to California, they continued that, took that with him. So he also felt that he was given a great privilege being born here. He came from very humble beginnings. And where else? He always said, where else could somebody like me have the opportunity to get an education, to work, and be successful? You know, it's because of this country.
Is it a fair question to ask what he would think of Hollywood today?
Yeah, no, that is a fair question. What would he think? There'd be a few films that he'd like. In terms of all the explicit material, he always felt that any producer or director should have to sit on a couch with his child or grandchild and watch that film. And he wondered if they'd still continue to make those films.
Right.
Would they be embarrassed?
How would you like people to remember the Duke? How would you like them to remember him?
I think there's nothing better than the comment that's on the Congressional Medal of Honor that was awarded to him. It simply says, John Wayne, American. What a compliment.
And coming up, O.J. Simpson gives his opinion on the Paris Hilton